Hey you guys, welcome back to Monday's What's for Dinner. For those of you that are new here, I am Sarah. And for this week's dinners, I have 3 for you. The first is teriyaki chicken sandwiches with cucumbers, mixed berry salad with the vanilla yogurt. Guys, this was so easy. I didn't get footage of the start, but it is rotisserie chicken. And yes, I used Mandarin teriyaki sauce. It was that easy. And then sliced up some cucumbers. Just, getting the ends off here and getting them ready to go. And then giving them a quick dice with a crinkle cut chopper that I found on Amazon. And then the salad couldn't be easier. I dumped in my berries, so I used what I had on hand, which was raspberries. Had to go through and get any suspect ones out, and then some blueberries. And normally we eat a lot of blueberries, but this whole package hadn't been used, so I figured this was the best use for them. Trying to pick out any suspect things you'll see coming up. I had to pick a leaf out. Yeah, did you see that? But
and the vanilla.
Yeah, I don't even measure. I just got a big spoonful of yogurt and plopped it in there, and then I did some honey that you'll see here in a second. Normally, I make the dressing in a different bowl so it's well mixed, but tonight I just dumped everything in. So there's the honey, just drizzle some in, and a good splash of vanilla. We love that vanilla flavor. You could use flavored yogurt if you wanted to. This is just the way I do it. An already flavored vanilla yogurt would be great. A lemon yogurt would be fantastic in here. Probably pretty hard to go wrong, whatever you have on hand. Even a berry yogurt, keep the flavors consistent. But yeah, that's it. Just kind of put it all in the bowl, give it a good stir to make sure it's incorporated, and there you go. Boom, you guys. Such an easy, delicious dinner. My kids loved it. It was a huge hit. And those are brioche buns from Trader Joe's. Okay, so for our second dinner this week, we did skillet hot dogs with more veggies and barbecue chips.
You don't want to dump
you guys,
it in.
I
just
hate
Can you drizzle?
boiling hot dogs in water, and I am not super proficient on the grill. That's the kind of thing I like Lance to help me with. So skillet it is. And as you see, Mason decided to help, which was fun. So we put some olive oil in the pan. You saw he's getting the hot dogs out of the package. He has never been so interested in helping before, which was so fun. The pan was hot. I actually had to cool it off behind the scenes a little bit. But yeah, that easy, guys. A little bit of olive oil or avocado oil. Dumped them in. The pan was hot, so I gave them like a quick turn because I knew they were going to get some color, and I just wanted to make sure nothing burnt. But this is not a super fussy way to make hot dogs at all, and they turn out so good. All right, this cucumber had the rubberiest skin I've ever seen on a cucumber. It had to be peeled. There's Mason taking ownership of his hot dogs, giving him a flip. He was really, really into this dinner, you guys. I know it's easy, but it was cool to watch. There he is again. He wanted to cut the cucumbers, so, I gave him some instruction, and of course I let him. For those of you that are new here or haven't noticed before, when I cut vegetables like this, I use a crinkle cut knife, and the kids love it, and it really helps them eat their veggies. This is me finishing it up. Mason is actually behind me, carefully getting the hot dogs on a plate. They're done. It was so fast and easy. Boom, you guys. Petite carrots from Trader Joe's, cucumbers, a little handful of barbecue chips on each plate. Yes, some of my kids wanted barbecue sauce, so there was a ketchup and barbecue sauce option. Guys, this dinner was so good. Again, so fast. And it was delicious, and everyone was so happy. Easy peasy. All right, guys, number 3 is old school lasagna. This is my husband's favorite. I made it for his birthday dinner. And you guys, I don't know what happened. I accidentally deleted the footage of the first part, which is the cheese mixture, which is just cottage cheese, 2 eggs, some garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, kind of a deal, and Parmesan and mozzarella, and you mix it together. And then here I am struggling to open 2 pounds of hamburger. Now, back in the day, this would have been like cheap Walmart hamburger, but it did not make sense for me, even for the sake of old school, to buy ingredients I already had. So we used what we had, even if it wasn't what I would have used back in the day. But this is the lasagna recipe that I developed based on the lasagna my aunt taught me how to make back when we were newlyweds. And it is Lance's favorite. It is so simple. It is so easy. See, again, you'll see there, I have Rayo's marinara sauce. Back in the day, that would have been Hunt's in the can, which is now about 88 cents a can. Way back when, it was probably about 60 cents a can. So it would have been Hunt's, or if I was feeling fancy, the Great Value glass jar, which was around $1. Yeah. But like I said, I used what I had. It didn't make sense to buy ingredients I already had, even for the sake of showing or grabbing less expensive ones. It was still a repeat. Yeah, brown it really good. Add all of the ingredients. So I'm using what I had, again, like I said, but it is just separate herbs. It would have been like, if you have Italian seasoning, you guys, when you're browning your meat, throw in a couple teaspoons of Italian seasoning. That's all I'm doing here. And instead of garlic powder and onion powder and salt and pepper, I am using Trader Joe's onion salt, which has all of those ingredients in it. But like I said, back in the day, onion powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, Italian seasoning. Super easy. Also, back the original recipe that I was taught, all of these ingredients stayed separate. Sauce stayed in the jar, meat stayed in the pan, and you really just kind of dolloped cottage cheese. It wasn't like a whole mixture. But I started using the no-boil lasagna noodles, and they need a lot of moisture because I absolutely hate prepping lasagna noodles. And this is the way that I have found works, and no matter what version of lasagna I am making, I keep the steps pretty similar because you need, like I said, you need a lot of moisture in that pan to make sure those noodles get soaked and can cook properly. So I use about 3/4 of a jar of sauce on the meat, make a meat sauce. It really is just this simple, you guys. Just giving a good stir. Use the rest of the sauce in the bottom of the pan. I had to open the other jar, but that's fine. I need a little bit at the end too. Make sure that the bottom is good and coated for those noodles to sit in. See? Guys, I am so crazy with these lasagna noodles. I don't know what to say. It is every time. it is a process. And I'm like, oh, do I have broken noodles or I'm going to have to break noodles? But it always works out. Does anyone else struggle with lasagna noodles? Is it me? Are they weird? Do they not seem to just fit quite right? I want a pasta maker, I guess, or like the roller that attaches to my mixer. And I would love to make my own sheets for when I make lasagna instead of fussing with noodles. Comment down below and tell me what you guys do with your lasagna noodles, because I find them to be quite an ordeal. Okay, so now we are just going to add the cheese sauce. I went a little crazy with the bottom. Math is hard. I used a little more than half, as you'll see later, but it was okay. It was delicious no matter what. I don't know if I said in the beginning, but that cheese mixture also has Parmesan and mozzarella in it. Like, I put all my cheese together back in the day because, you know, cheese has always been pretty expensive. And so for me, instead of just doing layers and layers of cheese, this made the most sense to kind of, you know, use some Parmesan. And back in the day, you guys, it was just the good old green can of Kraft Parmesan. And I do like to add, I didn't mix it in, so I added it separate this time, but it was fine. But yeah, dump it all in, and then it's spread out, it's all together, and I could just make that work. It made sense in my brain. I wasn't using tons and tons and tons, but there's a good amount of cheese in this recipe regardless. So we did the cheese layer. Now we are putting on a layer of meat sauce. Like I said, the whole point, well, of course we want flavor. We want great flavor. We want all of those flavors to meld, but we want those noodles to cook.
Is that his name? I don't know.
Because I have done it before where they have not cooked well. They did not get enough. So, lessons learned.
I'd like you to cite that source, please.
And I know it looks like, you guys, that is a huge,
I think Prince James is
huge baking pan. Like, I swear this lasagna weighed like 10 pounds when I was done with it. Like, this was a heavy pan of food, but it was so good. All right, so that is good and coated. I am going to add another layer of noodles and be just as awkward and weird about them.
Is like, you have to be as slick as the course.
That's my favorite part too.
Trying to figure it out.
Favorite part last from
if I had just scooted them over a little bit, it probably would have been fine.
That's my
but
favorite.
Whatever.
Go home. You're through.
We have to make it hard.
He's so nice.
Because that's my way.
Nicest commander
I
ever.
only make lasagna this way a couple times a year, even though it's super easy. Because I typically make ravioli lasagna, and there is no like weird like messing with noodles. I just use frozen or fresh ravioli depending on what's on sale and what I can find in my mood. And I do a similar cheese mixture and meat sauce mixture, but my kids love it. It's a little faster, a little more efficient. So see, I told you I used a little too much cheese on the bottom, but it worked out just fine. You guys, this lasagna is so delicious. It's just, everything is so simple. There's no fancy ingredients in it, but it is like soul satisfying. It is just, this is the way, or stemmed off of the way my granny made lasagna. See, making another layer of meat sauce. This is the way my granny made lasagna, and so this is the way my mom makes lasagna, the way I think all of my aunts make lasagna. I mean,
but
Will Smith is
So
I mean, they really.
it
What I
just-
respected about Will Smith was he didn't try to.
for
Robin
us,
Williams,
that is just
and he
comfort
knew
food
there
at
was
its
no
best.
winning that.
Anything
And I
that
feel like he really made the genie
Granny made
his.
and our moms
me,
made,
It felt
that
like
is always,
a new movie. Does that make sense?
I guess, where the
Interesting.
heart is. You know what I
Like,
mean? Comment
it
down
didn't feel
below,
like they
do
were
you have
trying to
family
rip off the
recipes
cartoon
that
we
you guys
love.
make, or that are slight variances of a grandmother's recipe, a great-grandmother's recipe, mom's recipe? And don't those just
I
always
saw
like
this one
feel the
behind the
best
scenes moment
when
of
you make
Aladdin
them and you
where Will
know
Smith
you're
is
making
talking about,
something
so like, I don't know the name of the actor
that
who plays Aladdin in the
has
live
been
action.
made for
But
so
he kept getting this
long
one
in
scene
your
wrong,
family.
and Will Smith told him, if you don't get your act together,
So there
then
it
we'll have
is.
someone who
I've
looks
got that
exactly like
last
you on
layer
set,
of
like
meat
that.
sauce.
And then after
Now
that, he
watch,
got the scene
watch,
just
watch
right.
these noodles go down like a boss. No big deal.
Feels harsh.
I think you notice it's narrower in the bottom and then wider at the top. So that definitely contributed to the issues. But yeah, they just laid right down. No big deal. And
The others do that.
that thick one off to the side, it
Maybe you
fit
didn't
on
put
the
it in
bottom
right?
perfectly.
Because look, you put
You
them
didn't
all
see
the
my
way to the
hands. I
edge.
was
You
like,
didn't
are
do
you
that
for
with the
real?
others.
But at least the top layer worked out well. That's the layer you kind of want to be the prettiest anyway.
What are you doing?
But guys, look how simple this is. And we've just been chatting the whole time, putting it together. Now on the top, you can do meat sauce if you have any left over. I don't like the way it looks. I feel like it's more like pretty to just do sauce and cheese on the top layer. But, you know, use what you have and do what you like. See, making sure everything's good and coated. Want to make sure I'm trying to, get in those corners. Make sure it's all covered. No big deal.
Or we can do it while it's cooking.
This is a very special recipe
It's gonna be
to
tomato
my
soup
husband,
for later.
and like I was saying before, to me.
Just as
So
it is.
it's fun to make, and it's also one I want to be so good and near perfect when I'm making it, even though it's so simple.
Adorable.
See, nice and coated, and then we are gonna pile on the cheese. This is the only layer in old school lasagna. I put plain cheese and not cheese mix because I think it's prettier this way. Tons of mozzarella cheese out of the bag, pre-grated, because that is what I would have done in 2001. Yep, that is the year I got married. So now y'all know I am old. I will have been married 20 years in June. It's craziness. But yeah, and then I'm adding a layer of Parmesan cheese because it's delicious. There's always room for extra Parmesan, and more for look instead of flavor. I always do a sprinkle of my Italian seasoning. This time it's just separate herbs, but y'all, it's Italian seasoning. I typically like to make a lot of my own seasonings, and I had the bottles and just hadn't made the seasoning yet, but it's Italian seasoning. I just like that little hint of green on top. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my gosh, and you guys, it was delicious. Always let your lasagna sit for a little bit out of the oven, and that is how you get it to cut in layers. But guys, that is all I got for you this week. We did have a taco night in there too. Super easy tacos. But I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for hanging out with us. As always, I love you and I appreciate you. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and hit the notification bell so you can see more videos. And I will be back soon. Love you. Bye.